Welcome back to the JK Effect. I'm Jordan,
I'm Kenny.
and we have our special guest here. Say hey to the people, John. Today, we have top 3 players so far, rookies in the NBA. For me, I'd probably have to go at 3, Trae Young, who's averaging how many points? 21 points a game, and 7.5 assists a game.
On a doo-doo team.
Well, true, but it's young in the NBA season right now. 2, I'd probably put DeAndre Ayton, and at 1, I'd have to go with Luka Doncic for the Mavericks. Now, Luka came into the league from a foreign league, the Euros. Didn't expect to be a rising star, but dude's putting up insane numbers.
Well, the thing of that is when you play overseas like he did, you have a lot more game type experience with a little bit better quality.
All they do at school is basketball. Pretty much, that's the only sport they have pretty much for school.
Well, I mean, the thing of it is,
maybe soccer.
Either way is, I would say by the end of the year, numbers wise, you're probably going to be DeAndre Ayton is probably going to have the better numbers. And then, Trae Young and Doncic pretty close. But I will say overall talent-wise, I think Doncic has the best opportunity, especially learning from another European guy like Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah, that's it.
And having as much talent and stuff like that some of these guys have been around over the years, to learn from would be perfect. So I think he has the best option to succeed. It's kind of bad with Trae Young to be pretty much thrown to the wolves, shall I say, being on the Hawks and kind of a rebuild year. But I've seen things like that happen before where a guy comes out tough.
LeBron James.
Sometimes. Now, LeBron's a different animal than what some of these rookies are.
True, but I'm just saying, he was thrown onto a not-so-star team.
A terrible team.
Yeah. We can
Don't
say that.
sugarcoat it.
I'm not. But
yeah, so those are the rookies there.
The Cavs have always been a terrible team.
Kenny, who would you put as your top 3 from 3 to 1?
I'm going to go with yours.
Why is that?
Because the same thing you said. Sure.
All right. Well, there you have it. Let us know on that. Okay.
What's wrong with that?
Kenny, shut your mouth.
Now, on to the next topic is going to be...
On to the next topic is going to be the top 3 disappointment teams of our league, the NBA.
All right, what's one of yours, Jordan?
I'm going to go at top 3.
Just go ahead and tell me one, and then we'll go across the room here. So what's one?
I'm going to go with the Rockets at number 1.
Rockets are definitely a disappointment. How do you feel, Kenny?
I'm going to have to go with the Celtics, honestly.
The Celtics are a disappointment to you?
They have a lot of talent, yet their record isn't too good.
Yeah, they're sitting at 6-3. I mean, maybe if you thought that they would go, undefeated or something.
Yeah, well, they're great. They're like
I get what
everybody
he's
on the
saying.
team is
I
really
get what he's
good.
saying. The Celtics, they were Eastern Conference runner-up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what we're saying this early in the year, I mean, it's hard to judge and stuff like that, and so I would just say.
It's all right, Kenny.
I'm sorry.
What would your option be? What would your
my number one's gonna be the Wizards. The Wizards have always been one of the teams in the East that's been a 4, 5, 6, 7 seed in the playoffs. Always been a solid team, but never seemed to be able to get over the hump. I thought with bringing in Dwight Howard, we'd really see a well-rounded Wizards team.
Keep in mind though, Dwight Howard is aging.
I also want to quote John Wall on this. He said, and I quote, Harry Potter is the only wizard that can save us right now. We're trash.
Yeah, and the thing of it is right now, John Wall's been there a while, I think he's starting to get a little frustrated. I think eventually that torch is going to be handed to Bradley Beal. I say eventually John Wall's going to be out of that. John Wall's never been a type of guy that's going to be able to lead a franchise to a championship. He's a great player, solid player. To me, he's similar to like a Damian Lillard. You know, he's going to put up solid numbers. He's going to look good at times. And at other times, he's just going to act like, that he's not the leader of the team.
Yeah. He needs that third guy. I mean,
They do.
Bradley Beal, yeah, he's a good duo type player. But you're not just going to get it done with two people.
Well, the problem with that, too, is the kind of money that they're spending on some of the other players. You pretty much gave the bank to Otto Porter.
Yeah,
he's not the type of guy that, to me, he's not a max guy.
Yeah. You're not just going to rely on Otto Porter. But Otto Porter, he's played really well.
He's played okay, but he's
throughout his career.
Max player, though? No.
No, definitely not. And then bringing someone in like Dwight Howard, keep in mind though, Dwight Howard just made his debut the other night.
Yeah, and I get that, but still, starting out season 1-7,
yeah.
You're right there with Cleveland.
Something's got to give.
Can you do this? I can't.
Now, here's what else is going on. What's your second team?
My second team would have to go with the Wizards. And then, Kenny, what would you say your second team is?
Lakers.
Why would you put the Lakers at 2?
Because they have LeBron, they have Brandon Ingram, they have Rondo, they have some really nice players, yet they're still sitting at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. How about you, John?
My second one's obviously going to be definitely Houston. Houston, I thought, bringing in Carmelo, I didn't know how it would mesh, so I thought it'd be a little bit time there. I think losing Trevor Ariza, although it doesn't sound like a lot, but really hurt him.
He was, he was very.
They had some other solid players. I think Chris Paul's gotten rattled a few times. I think them knowing that how close they were to pretty much, if they would have got past the Warriors in one game, they probably would have won the championship. So, in saying that, I feel like that sometimes you almost have your heart ripped out, and it's hard to get that momentum coming back. I feel like coming close to playoff time, they're going to be right where they need to be.
I feel like last year, had Chris Paul not Chris Paul get hurt, they would have been in the finals last year.
Very well could have, and I know they would have dominated Cleveland. So either way, they would have been fine. I'll go ahead and tell you my third surprise team here. And there's a couple different ones. Like Oklahoma City's one that you could be a surprise. Even the Clippers being as well as they are right now, even though it's 5-4. Yeah, they've been bottom of the barrel and they've lost a ton of talent.
And just like the Kings too. On a positive note, the Kings, they're 6-4 right now.
But
granted, it's early.
But let's take a look at this right here. Okay, New Orleans started out the season, if I remember right, they were 4-0 to start out the season. They have now lost 5 straight, sitting at 4-5. Now, some of that's because Davis, I think, has been out 2 or 3 games at least. But they're a team without Davis, and that pretty much proves to me real quick that, hey, you talking about MVP type player? Anthony Davis is definitely one of the top tier MVPs of this league. Jazz the same way, man. Started out real well. I think they were 4-1, 4-2, something like that. Lost the last 3 games. So some of these teams, like the Jazz, I believe, that are going to be a solid team, just got some kinks to work out and stuff like that. And sometimes your schedule's not so favoring early in the year. You might have played a Golden State, a Milwaukee, Celtics, teams like that, Raptors, and your record may not look as good as somebody else. So let's say if, for example, let's say the Clippers, or let's say even Sacramento 6-4. Who knows? I don't know right off the top of my head who they've played, but if you're playing the Nets, the Knicks, and the Suns, of course you're going to look better than what that. But at the end is when it starts to work itself out. Everybody plays just about the same. So that's kind of how I feel about it right now. Those are my surprises.
Who was your number one?
Number one is probably either the Pelicans or the Jazz, being as low as they have been in the last week or two, and really dropping out.
Mine would probably have to be the Lakers in that spot. I know Kenny said 2, but Lakers, like he said, LeBron being the greatest of all time.
Definitely not.
He's put up the numbers throughout his career of, quote, the greatest of all time, but you got to look at them now. Like, they do have the pieces of Rondo, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, JaVale McGee.
Has anybody seen
people like
Lonzo's new shot though?
I
He
mean,
said-
it's
better.
a little different, but it's not a whole lot.
He said he's just gotten stronger. He hadn't changed his shot, but it looks different because he's gotten stronger.
He needs to put some more time in the gym and stay out of the studio.
Now I'll tell you this: if you want a team to keep an eye out for too, while we're on this topic, okay. Also, Detroit, who started out the season 4-0, drops 4 straight losses after Blake Griffin has came out to a great start on the year. Looks like he really found his home. And then out west, just like I predicted earlier in the year, San Antonio sitting 6-2, and it just looks like DeRozan just found himself a great home.
Exactly.
Can I take a moment to address D Rose's come out?
Yes. Derrick Rose, I said it before the year started. He's making his comeback right now.
Okay,
This
now-
year and
And
above.
Clay.
Okay, let me say this
Clay
now.
did
Before
good.
you guys
Clay did
get
great.
too excited about D Rose, you guys do know he just missed yesterday's game or day before with an injury
Oh, I
as
know.
well.
I know.
Derrick Rose has been one of those type players for years that can put up high numbers, give you high hopes as a team, and then he'll let you down like a bad sack of potatoes. It's almost like you got a 15-pound bag of potatoes getting ready to make some mashed potatoes, something really delicious, homemade, and then all of a sudden you open the bag and all
And
you
they're
got
all
is
rotten.
potatoes with eyes on them. You know?
Never heard that analogy, whatever.
That's great.
Well, yeah.
But-
So pretty much what I'm saying is just he'll give you all that false hope. I mean, I hate to believe, I like Derrick Rose a whole lot. When he played for the Bulls early, I loved watching him. Even when he was with Memphis, I liked watching him when he was in college. And real great player. I feel sorry for him for all his injuries and stuff like that. But
Wasn't
at,
even alive.
at the
when
end of the
Derrick Rose
day,
was
I
in
mean,
college.
he's injury prone. He's going to be one of
Yeah.
those guys that are, like a Grant Hill. This should have been a great player. Got injured a lot. Didn't have the career he wanted.
Off topic, I know, but do you see Derrick Rose as a Hall of Famer?
Definitely.
To
he was
me,
the
here's.
earliest MVP.
I mean, I get that. Okay, but
Youngest
to
MVP.
me, here's the thing with that. If he continues on like he's doing now, and he plays at least 14, 15 seasons, I might be okay with that. Okay? It's if he only plays 8 to 10 seasons or so, which I know he's played some, but he's been out probably 2 or 3 with injury, but plays full seasons. I can't see, even though he won MVP, I know he's definitely, in my opinion, not going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But he may get in. It's just going to come close.
I do think when it's all said and done, Derrick Rose is definitely a Hall of Famer in my book.
I think a lot of people are going to vote for him because they like him and feel sorry for him.
Because it's more of a feel-good story.
Who's
instead of-
y'all's top 3 underrated point guards? Or guards in general, not just point
Guards in general, underrated?
Yeah.
Right now in the league?
I'd go probably DeRozan.
D Rose.
He's underrated, yes.
Probably. I don't know. I'm not gonna say that.
I mean, I'll definitely go Devin Booker right here.
Devin
easily.
Booker, yeah.
DeRozan, D-Book.
And I would say Clay, but
Clay's not
Everybody
underrated.
knows Clay can go off.
Yeah.
So.
but he's not per se the go-to scorer. Is the only reason why I would say he's
But he
underrated.
could be. I mean, if let's take a second to think of this. You put Klay Thompson on the Nets, he is the go-to scorer,
Absolutely,
and he's dropping big buckets.
yeah.
Like 50 games.
I'll tell you something else.
consistently.
Tim Hardaway Jr. is one to
Tim
watch.
Hardaway Jr. Exactly.
Another couple, Victor
Jamal
Oladipo.
Crawford.
I don't know if he's exactly underrated, but
Victor Oladipo, I've said, well, actually, he would be more of an underrated guard because no one really talks about him.
at times they do. Playoff
Well, they
times,
do
I
in
think
the
they really
playoffs.
did that. But besides that, you also got to keep in mind here with Zach LaVine.
Zach LaVine's
Had a
record
great
doesn't
start.
say it. Record doesn't say it. Zach LaVine is probably, arguably,
Uh,
top 5 shooting
Jamal
guards in the league.
Murray. Is that a
Jamal
great-
Crawford.
In his prime, yes.
Yeah,
in his
Well,
prime,
not
yes.
now, but
In his prime, yes. I
Um,
understand what you were saying there.
Cross the crap in.
Probably would cross
CJ
the crap
McCollum,
out
I
of
think,
you,
but I don't know how much he is
So that's bad.
underrated.
Damian Lillard.
Lou Williams.
Lou Williams. Yep.
Did you say Damian Lillard?
Damian Lillard. He's
He's not
not
underrated.
exactly. He's not exactly talked about a lot.
Yes,
would-
he is.
I would say he's not overrated. He's not underrated. He's just like right there.
His team has
Okay,
always
fine
been in the
line.
middle of the pack.
I mean, I'll give you a
Is
real
mine.
good one here. How about Drew Holiday?
How about
Perfect
Elfrid
example.
Payton? Elfrid Payton.
Yeah.
How about him?
I would
Rondo goes away. He steps up. Next man up.
say Dennis
You're right.
Schroeder's okay.
Dennis Schroeder.
Dennis Schroeder, I think, still finding his way a little bit
He's-
with him, but
He's I'd say probably it's early. He hadn't really proved it yet, but I'd say 6th man of the year candidate.
even a couple guys from Miami, Josh Richardson, I believe, had a 30 to 40 point night. the
I
other
feel
night.
like Josh Richardson is going to be a potential all-star.
Could be. Kimball Walker
Kimball Walker.
is
yeah.
he's going to very easily talk himself into a MVP scenario
Sometime
within the
soon.
next few years.
Yes.
How do you guys feel about Tony Parker going to Charlotte?
I feel like that is I feel like he probably just wanted to get away. For a
To
year.
me, I
I
feel
don't
like Tony
know.
Parker.
He's way out of his prime.
Spurs didn't want him. He didn't want to pay him. I mean, I don't blame him. And then, so you go to a team for a year. Quite a few players do this at the end of their careers.
Yeah.
They'll have a long, solid career with somebody, but want to play a couple more years out of their prime. That team didn't want to pay them, so they'll go somewhere else where it's not important.
Stop.
And thank you.
Hello, Trinity.
And so that's how I feel about that.
Let us know in the comments. First off, top 3 rookies so far, and the top 3
Disappointment?
disappointments. Yes, I could read my own hand around there, Kenny.
Hey man.
Top 3 disappointments. Third and final. I know we've gotten off topic a lot, but third and final topic here. How would Michael Jordan in today's league fit?
You're not Michael Jordan.
How would Michael Jordan in today's league fit the Chicago Bulls from
Michael
2017 to
Jordan's
18?
not him.
I don't think he fits their play style. I think he would just be a total takeover person, pretty much, and just go to drops like 30, 40 point games every night because he can.
Now, here's the thing that you got to remember when we're talking about Michael Jordan here. He was one of the more physical guys driving to the rim and
Wait,
finishing. Getting
I'm gonna
there,
be
there.
action. Go.
And then,
Stop. Action.
okay, well, Michael Jordan as one of the more physical driving lane guys in those days where if you drove into the lane, you were getting crushed.
Mhm.
Okay, so
You would rise above
you
over
take
anybody.
that and then put it in today's system of the way they're calling fouls.
He would get to the line every single
Michael
freaking
Jordan
possession.
would probably average close to 15 points off of free throws a game. Plus being a guy that probably shoots in the late 80 percentages anyway in free throws and being the clutch factor that he is.
Mhm.
Now, in saying that though, depending on who he's with, could he do it? Let's say if Michael Jordan was on the Nets right now, where would they be? Okay. They'd be borderline playoff team. I mean, he's not a miracle worker.
This is also
It's the
Michael
same-
Jordan in his prime.
How would the Lakers be with Michael Jordan?
I mean, that's different because you put Mike and LeBron together. Obviously, you would be pretty dynamic. But
Yeah.
I think Michael would.
what I'm pretty much trying to get at, though, is if the same thing with LeBron with the Lakers, okay? LeBron is barely out of his prime, maybe. And the thing with that is you go to a bad Lakers team, and everybody's expecting miracles, and it's not going to happen. Okay, you put LeBron with so many different personalities that they all clash. You know, Lonzo
Yeah.
Ball, you seen when him and Kuzma they were making diss albums in the off season. Okay, and then you bring in a guy like Rondo, who every night's going to have something different. Played real well for the Celtics for a long time, and then all of a sudden just started, you know, doing his own thing. Stop, please.
Cut.
Stop, please.
Cut.
And then you had him go to the Mavericks. He decided that he was just going to kind of, you know, barely play, you know. And so you don't really know what you're going to get out of him. JaVale McGee obviously is at times can look really well, and then at times is going to have JaVale McGee moments. You know,
I feel like Michael Jordan in his prime, with that 2017-18 Bulls roster, he would probably average close to. He would average close to 25 points a game. Realistically, 25 points, 5 rebounds per game,
Right here.
and probably 4 assists. But that's just my prediction, what he would be like. Because you take someone like Chris Dunn, being not the go-to scorer, but he's a pretty
he's like your
important
second
player.
option, yeah.
I put Zach Levine. I was there.
Well, also, they play the same position. They play the same position.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan plays 2 guard. Zach Levine plays 2
Well,
guard.
I mean, you can say that, but
You
even
could
in
put
today's
Zach
league,
in the 3.
in the way today's league is, I mean,
could
it
probably
wouldn't
put
matter.
Michael
You
at
could
the
literally put Michael Jordan at the 3 and not be a problem.
It would be a stretch, but you might be able to run him at the 4.
I mean, just depending. You would go extreme small ball, but
Yeah.
Trinity Lynn, stop.
I'm not doing anything.
You keep walking back and forth.
I don't mean I'm doing it. And don't call me by my whole name.
Now, besides that, if you guys want to talk real quick about the stats so far this year on the season, hopefully you can edit most of this stuff out.
Doubt it.
But if not, we'll go with it. That's how you do a show, right? You do it live and you let it ride.
Yep.
So, couple surprising numbers this year for me. I had no idea watching some of these guys, and I paid attention to most of the games, but I did not know Steph Curry was averaging 32.5 points per game.
Yeah, he's leading the league in scoring right now. He's leading the league in scoring. I saw something on Instagram the other day. He was number 1 out of the top 10.
And even saying that, anybody want to take a guess who's number 2 in the league right now in scoring?
Joel Embiid.
Anybody else?
I'm gonna go. Honestly, Kenny not saying that, I would take Joel Embiid.
See, I probably
Because-
would have went with somebody like Durant or somebody like that. But
Well, you got
How
to
come
think
KD
too.
hasn't-
Joel Embiid is probably the GOAT. Well, besides Ben Simmons, is probably the go-to scorer.
yeah, I mean, he's not doing bad. I mean, Simmons is more of a facilitator, and
Yeah.
so it kind of helps out a little bit. Lillard is 3 at 29.2.
Let me take a guess on the 4th. I'm gonna go Trae Young.
Trae Young's averaging 21.5. So, 4th is a hot guy at the times, Blake Griffin, 28.6.
I'm stupid.
And then Durant, 28.3.
I say Durant is probably another MVP.
I'd put Durant higher than Blake Griffin on my players list.
Oh yeah, I would too.
Now,
As far as points wise,
let's
right now.
go with assists right now. Kyle Lowry, we just talked about it not too long ago, 11.2 assists per game, which is huge for him. It looks like that being able to have Leonard beside
Stop
him,
being mean to
they
me.
really seem to have hooked up pretty well. So it's doing nothing but helping both of them. Westbrook's at 8.8. I think he's kind of gotten off to a little bit of a slow start, but he's not doing too bad. Chris Paul, 8.7. He's third. Draymond Green is 4th with 8.5. Always a solid point forward for them.
Absolutely. Draymond is probably another. He's gonna probably win Defensive Player of the Year.
And number 5 is Drew Holiday. Just like we said before, he's improved a ton. I mean, he's one of those quiet guys that do a lot of things that go unnoticed because he plays for New Orleans Pelicans. And, sometimes it's not Golden State, it's not Cleveland or the Lakers or something like that, so it gets overlooked some. Just to shoot out some other numbers to you, rebounding leaders, any idea on who's leading the league in
I'm
rebounding?
gonna go Andre Drummond, leading the league in rebounding.
All right.
This is off the
Kenny?
topic, by the way.
I'm gonna go
Top rebounder.
Joel Embiid.
And what it is Andre Drummond, 15.4 rebounds per game, which is pretty insane.
How many points? Does it say?
No, not right offhand, but Whiteside is averaging 14.6 rebounds. DeAndre Jordan coming to Dallas, averaging 14.3.
That
should upstart Dallas's offense
quick
and
side
defense
note.
pretty well.
Quick side note. Where do you put the Mavs in the Western Conference standings?
I put them, playoff wise or standings?
I want to say playoff wise, but I know that
They're not going to make the playoffs.
I know they're not going to make the playoffs, but I feel like it's I feel like they're in the process of becoming a better team. Having DeAndre Jordan, you know what I mean? Having DeAndre Jordan, having Luka, Dennis Smith Jr., although he's not putting up the numbers right now. You have someone like Wesley Matthews who is on and off.
Okay, yeah, and when we get into this, here's how I feel about Dallas, because I'm a big Dallas fan. Right now, we started out the year without Harrison Barnes playing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so getting that chemistry to gel real well with Barnes and Dennis Smith Jr. and Luka is always going to be a struggle to begin with.
Yes.
And then now we still have Dirk hurt, so when he comes back, we'll still have a little bit of chemistry to work with there, and try to figure out everybody's role. You know, right now at times you see Wesley Matthews taking a couple bad shots here and there. Doncic's still learning the NBA game quite a bit. But I love the pickup of DeAndre Jordan. Jordan does the same thing wherever he goes. He rebounds the ball and he does it well. He protects the rim, and that sometimes can change the game for you. Especially a young player. Let's think about Chris Paul when he first came to the Clippers. Changed his game having Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, because that's what made Lob City.
Yep.
So I think Dennis Smith Jr., as long as he stays the course, him, Barnes, Luka, all these guys are going to fit well. It's just going to take maybe a couple more years. So if I had to guess right now, they're going to be maybe 5 to 10 games out of making a playoff spot. But they're going to be in a race for it.
Yes, what I was saying, I don't expect them by any means to make the playoffs this year. But you got to think too, they're not going to be they may be about a 12 to 14 in the lotto, 12 to 14th pick.
Yeah.
They're not going to be with the first pick of the NBA draft.
I might have to look it up to be sure, but I think they traded next year's pick to be able to move up to get Doncic. So.
Yeah. Okay.
As far as I know, I could be wrong on that. But.
Kenny, what's your take on Dallas this year?
I honestly don't see them making the playoffs. I'm going with your dad on this one.
Well, I mean, I don't either, like I've said. But the Mavericks, they're a special team. They're young. They're young is even scarier. Besides DeAndre Jordan having a solid veteran player like that, okay, and then you have the young core Harrison Barnes, if I remember right, or if I know right, he's 27, I believe, 28, something like that.
He was with the Warriors on their first championship run. So.
Yeah, and he was young.
Yeah.
But so you got someone like that, and then Luka, of course, Dennis Smith in his second year. You have solid backups.
To me, the biggest thing with Dallas is they're still going to have to go out in the offseason or make a trade and get one star player.
And I'd probably say go after a 4-man.
You know, and as bad as it sounds, it's going to take a Paul George, one of these second-tier superstars, a Gordon Hayward, or a Kyrie Irving, or somebody like that.
Did you just call Kyrie a second-tier superstar?
Well, no, I'm just saying, one of these
disrespectful.
guys. And now here's the thing with that. If we want to get into that argument on talking about Kyrie, it's going to be this right here. Okay, how many championships has Kyrie earned on his own?
0.
But how many
Did you
years?
ever stop talking?
How many years has Kyrie been in the league?
Please, Bart.
And if I remember right, which I do, Kyrie is the reason why Cleveland won. Besides that block by LeBron.
Okay, but I'm just saying, without LeBron, they don't even make the playoffs.
Without Kyrie.
You don't know that either.
Without Kyrie, they don't make the finals. Well, without Kyrie, they probably get knocked out in the first round.
Here's the thing, because with Kyrie, without LeBron, or another lottery pick.
I don't agree. Well, without
They were-
Kyrie, yes.
No, without LeBron, they were a lottery pick team with Kyrie after LeBron left.
I'm trying to think who they had. Okay, Kyrie.
Kevin.
They drafted that year that LeBron came back.
They drafted
They
Wiggins.
drafted Wiggins. Okay, their starting center was Tristan Thompson. I mean, they were young and building.
They were, but the
And now
thing
they're
of the
back to
matter
being
is
trash.
this right here is the fact that just like Irving going to the Celtics, okay? Irving always seems to be that player that does real well during the regular season, and then come playoff time, he just
Is
comes
Uncle
up
Johnny
just a
what-
hair bit short by himself. Just like now, had he played in the playoffs there late against Cleveland, who knows? But we won't ever know.
All right.
So to me, Kyrie's just one of those guys that, yes, it was fun, exciting to see him play it without LeBron and stuff like that, and lead the Celtics to such a good start. But Kyrie hasn't proved anything.
Yet.
In my book, he hadn't.
Yet.
No.
He hasn't to anybody yet. But he's also 25, 26.
I mean, he's a great player. I love Kyrie. But even in college, he did the same thing. He played just a tiny bit for Duke and then got injured and didn't play anymore and still got drafted. So he's kind of had that little bit of the injury bug, should we say, that's kind of hurt him.
Derrick Rose.
Good, King?
I'm not good.
This side and this side are burning.
All right, that's all we have for today.
Quick thing to add, just real quick. How's everybody feel about Tyson Chandler getting